I never thought a $40 haircut would destroy my marriage. But here we are. My name's Mei Lin. I'm 30, living in Portland, married to David for 3 years. We're both working professionals. Me coordinating construction projects, him crunching data. We split everything 50-50, kept our finances transparent, helped each other through tough times. Our love wasn't fireworks and passion. It was steady, reliable, safe. Or so I thought. Everything changed on a Tuesday night over leftover pad thai and cheap beer. David was unusually quiet, picking at his food like it might bite back. Finally, he set down his chopsticks. "Hey, I've been thinking. Could we start sending some money to Suki?" I blinked. "Your sister? What's going on?" He sighed heavily. She co-signed a loan for her friend Amber. Now Amber's completely vanished. Suki's stuck with the entire debt. That surprised me. Suki was sharp as a blade, corporate lawyer in Seattle, always put together, never missed family dinners. She hadn't mentioned anything. "She didn't want to worry you," David continued, rubbing his temples. "She called me crying, said we're the only people she can trust. I was thinking maybe $2,000 a month just until she gets back on her feet." $2,000. My stomach dropped. That's a lot of money, David. I know, but she's family. If she's asking for help, it's serious. Family. That word hit different when you don't have much of it left. I lost both parents in college. Suki was the closest thing I had to a sister. So I said yes. That weekend, we gutted our budget. I canceled my yoga membership, ditched my monthly skincare. Box. No more takeout, no drinks with coworkers. I started tutoring kids online for extra cash while David picked up freelance projects. We sent the first $2,000 the following Monday. No thank you text. No acknowledgement. Nothing. She's probably overwhelmed, I told myself. By month 2, I was running on fumes. Hadn't replaced my broken winter boots, skipped my dental cleaning, turned down my best friend's bachelorette party. David seemed more. Distant too, working late, glued to his phone, barely touching me at night. I blamed the financial stress. Then came the breaking point. I had a wedding to attend. Black tie affair for an old college friend. I hadn't done anything for myself in months, so I booked a simple haircut at a discount salon. $40 from a small editing gig I'd picked up. When I walked through the door that Friday evening, hair freshly trimmed, David glanced up from the couch. "You went to the salon," I smiled. "Yeah, it was way overdue." "With what money?" My smile faded. "I did that freelance editing project, remember? Used part of that check." He stood up, his face darkening. "So you can afford a haircut, but not help with the internet bill?" "I paid my share." "Last week you said things were tight. Then you show up looking like this." He gestured at me like I was wearing diamonds. "Are you trying to impress someone?" My heart stopped. "Excuse me?" "You've been acting different. Going." "Quiet, dressing up, I'm not stupid." The accusation hit like ice water. "David, do you seriously think I'm cheating?" He didn't answer. That silence was answer enough. I marched to the kitchen drawer, yanked out my pay stub, and slammed it on the counter. "This is what I made. See that deduction? That's my share of Suki's money. You know what's left after rent and bills? Almost. Nothing. I used $40 so I could feel human at a wedding I didn't even want to attend." He wouldn't meet my eyes. "Don't you dare accuse me of hiding things when I've been bending over backwards to support your family." "I'm sorry," he mumbled, but it felt hollow, a placeholder to end the fight. We'd never fought like that. Not once in 3 years. Later that night, I sat alone in the dark, running numbers in my head. Everything added up. The money was going to Suki's account every month. But something felt wrong. Not once had she reached out. No thank you, no check-in, no mention of her supposed financial crisis. That wasn't like her. What if she never asked for help at all? I decided to stop asking David questions and go straight to the source. The next day, I texted Suki suggesting coffee while I was passing through Seattle for work. She responded immediately. "That sounds great. Actually, there's something I wanted to talk to you about too." My stomach clenched. "Oh yeah?" "The Caribbean trip. I wanted to run some ideas by you. I'm so excited." I stared at my phone like it had just slapped me. Caribbean trip. This whole time, I'd been eating ramen and clipping coupons, and Suki wanted to chat about tropical beaches. Something was very, very wrong. I drove to Seattle with my hands shaking on the steering wheel. Suki's text about the Caribbean trip played on repeat in my head. No mention of debt, no gratitude, just breezy vacation planning. I didn't tell David where I was really going. He thought I had a training seminar in Beaverton. Suki opened her condo. Door in flowing silk pants and a cashmere sweater, barefoot with perfectly manicured coral nails. "Mei, you look exhausted. Come in, come in." Her place was immaculate. Minimalist furniture, soft jazz playing, expensive candles filling the air with vanilla and bergamot. On her marble kitchen island sat 2 cocktails with pineapple wedges and tiny umbrellas. "I made rum punches," she said brightly. "Just testing Caribbean drink combos. Thought you might enjoy one." I accepted the glass with numb fingers. We settled across from each other, and for a moment it felt normal, familiar. Then she leaned forward with sparkling eyes. "So the cruise?" I blinked. "The cruise? Yeah. I'm thinking we do at least one. Private shore excursion. And you have to promise you'll try snorkeling. The reefs around St. Lucia are incredible." I just stared at her. "Suki, I don't understand." Her smile faltered slightly. "You didn't know?" "Know what?" She set down her drink carefully. "I assumed David told you. We've been planning this for weeks." My throat felt tight. "You two have?" "Yeah. He said you were stretched thin and couldn't join, but that you were totally supportive of him covering the deposit. So I went ahead and booked." The room started spinning. "Wait. David gave you money for a Caribbean cruise?" Suki's brow furrowed. "Well, not exactly. He said you two were pulling funds together and he'd wire his share before the end of the month." "Why?" I felt like I was drowning. "Suki, we've been sending you money every month, $2,000. David said you co-signed a loan for Amber and were drowning in debt. He said you called him crying." Suki froze. Complete silence. Then she laughed, but it wasn't happy. It was sharp and disbelieving. "What? Amber? I haven't co-signed anything. For her. She moved to Austin 6 months ago. We still text, but there's no loan." My skin went cold. "So you're not in debt?" She gave me a confused look. "I mean, I have a mortgage and car payments, but that's normal. I've never missed anything." I set down my drink with trembling hands. "Then why has David been telling me? You're financially desperate?" Suki slowly stood up and grabbed her phone, scrolling through messages. "I haven't asked him for money," she said, turning the screen toward me. "The last time we texted was about Aunt Linda's birthday. That was a month ago. Sure enough, just emojis and cake photos." "Okay," she said slowly, sitting back down. "Tell me everything from the beginning." So I did. The Tuesday dinner conversation, David's emotional plea, how I'd slashed our budget, skipped events, canceled subscriptions, the fight about my haircut, how he'd looked me dead in the eye and said she was suffering. When I finished, Suki's face had gone hard as stone. Unbelievable. He played both of us. "I don't get it," I whispered. "Where's the money going?" "I don't know, but I want to find out." My voice cracked. "Should we call him?" She shook her head firmly. "No, not yet. If he lied to you, there's a reason. We need to figure out what it is." "What do you suggest?" Suki leaned forward, her lawyer instincts kicking in. "First, stop sending money. Don't say anything yet. If he asks why, say you'll bring it to me in person next time. Watch how he reacts. If I stop sending money, he'll have questions." "Exactly. Let him. And let's see if he tries to stop you from talking to me again." My stomach churned. What are we even suspecting here? Suki was quiet for a long moment. Then she pulled out a legal pad. I work at a law firm, Mei. I've seen this before. People invent crises when they need cover, financial or otherwise. You think he's hiding something? I think, she said carefully. He's funneling that money somewhere, and I want to know where. The next morning I tested the waters over. Coffee. By the way, I think I'll bring next month's money to Suki in person. I might be heading to Seattle again for work. David's entire body went rigid. What? Why? Just figured it'd be easier. We're grabbing lunch anyway. He set down his mug. Too hard. No, you don't have to do that. I'll send it. I don't mind. No, he said sharper. Really, I already told her I'd send it next week. It'll just confuse things if you show up with cash. I watched his face carefully. His voice was too tight. His smile didn't reach his eyes. Okay, I said lightly. Just offering. He nodded, but I saw it. The flicker of panic behind his calm expression. Suki was right. Something was very wrong. 2 days later, I found myself sitting across from a private investigator named Marcus Chen. Professional, soft-spoken, efficient. He didn't ask unnecessary questions, just dates, account numbers, patterns. A week later, he called with results. I was stirring oat milk into terrible break room coffee when my phone rang. We've got something, Marcus said without preamble. My heart hammered. What? David's been making consistent cash withdrawals, always within 24 hours of your paycheck hitting. He's using an unregistered payment app under a fake name, transferring money to a woman named Isabella Rodriguez. I froze. Never heard of her. She lives in a studio apartment in Northeast Portland. He's been seen entering multiple times over. The last 2 months. Different days, different times, same pattern. The breath left my lungs. You have proof? I do. Sending photos to your secure email now. Minutes later, there they were. David holding coffee and flowers outside someone else's door. David kissing a woman with long dark hair and a cream-colored jacket. David on her balcony, wine glass in hand, barefoot and smiling. I forwarded everything to Suki. Her response was, immediate. When are we calling him? That weekend, we invited him to Suki's condo under the pretense that she wanted to thank him for helping her through such a difficult time. He agreed without hesitation. When Suki opened the door, David entered. Cheerfully with a bottle of rosé, he stopped short seeing me on the couch, arms crossed. His smile died. Hey, what's going on? You tell us, Suki said coolly, locking the door behind him. I thought this was just, it is, I cut in. A family meeting. He hesitated. Look, this is about the money. Oh, it is, I said. It's exactly about the money. Suki walked to the coffee table and opened a folder. Bank statements, Venmo receipts, surveillance photos, transaction logs, all of it laid out like evidence in a courtroom. David glanced down, then back at me. What the hell is this? I stood up. My hands were freezing, but my voice was steady. You've been lying to me for 3 months. You said Suki was drowning in debt. You said she needed help. But the money went to your girlfriend, to Isabella, to her rent, her lifestyle, your double life. No, I snapped. You don't get to explain. You lied. You took my money, my trust, my sacrifices, and fed them to someone else. David turned to Suki. You had me investigated? Suki laughed bitterly. I investigated you. There's a difference. You used my name. You made your wife think I was broken and desperate. I didn't mean, save it, I said. You're pathetic. He turned back to me, desperate. Mei, please, I messed up. Isabella, she understood me. She listened. How noble, Suki said, rolling her eyes. Was she listening while you stole from your own wife? David's voice cracked. I didn't steal. You lied, I said. You manipulated. You took what wasn't yours. He looked up at me with pleading eyes. We can fix this. You and me. I already fixed it. I pulled the divorce papers from my bag. His face went white. What? You'll sign. You'll return every dollar. You'll pay alimony because you committed fraud. And if you fight me, I'll go to your employer with everything. He stared at the papers like they might bite him. I'll destroy you if I have to, I said quietly. You chose this. Now live with it. The silence was suffocating. Then Suki dropped the final bomb. Mom knows. David's eyes went wide. What? I told her everything. She didn't even argue, just said one sentence. He swallowed hard. What was it? Suki smiled coldly. He's not my son anymore. David stood up fast. I need air. You need a conscience, I snapped. He left without the wine, without a word, without looking back. That was the last time I saw him. The divorce moved like lightning. The evidence was bulletproof. Suki's lawyer was ruthless and brilliant. We recovered every stolen dollar plus additional damages for emotional distress and fraud. The settlement left David financially ruined. Isabella dumped him within 2 weeks. His company demoted him and transferred him to another city. Last I heard, he's sleeping on a co-worker's couch. I didn't care. Suki and I grew closer than we'd ever been when I was married to her brother. Last week, she sent me a package. Inside were 2 plane tickets, Caribbean cruise, balcony suite, 10 days all-inclusive, and a note. You've earned your peace. Let's go get it. I smiled for the first time in months. I don't know if I'll ever fall in love again. But I know what love doesn't look like now. It doesn't look like silence or secrets or stolen money. And it definitely doesn't look like a man who fakes his sister's crisis to fund his own betrayal. This time, the sand and sea are real. And for the first time in forever, so am I.